Well, here we are late at night, and we're going to go ahead and work on this a little bit more. He's going to work on that a little bit more. So what are we going to do tonight, Gary?
I'm going to start making the soundboard. Since you were here last, I finished the ring for the sound hole.
Oh, that's nice.
Cut the hole out, obviously. And if you flip it over...
That's a whole lot of work. So what is?
Well, you can see where I've laid out where all the braces are going to be on the soundboard.
I needed braces when I was young, but I didn't get them.
Well, these would be wooden braces. I don't know if they would have done your teeth much good.
Oh, those were George Washington.
Yeah, George Washington. Anyway, what I was going to point out is it's essentially the same bracing pattern I would use on a full-size steel string guitar.
Really?
There aren't as many braces, and they'll be much lighter weight than they would on a 25-inch scale guitar. But the pattern is pretty similar.
Okay. What do you call that bracing? X bracing?
X bracing, yeah. I'm putting a new top on a Gibson Dreadnought for somebody, and so I just thought I'd show you this. This is the bracing pattern that Gibson used. But if you look at this pattern versus that, it's really quite similar. There's just more braces here.
Gotcha.
There are two of these lower ones, whereas on our guitar there's going to be one. And
because we want more vibration on a smaller surface and doesn't need
it's
as
not
much.
Going to be under as much load as a bigger guitar, so we don't need as many braces, and they don't have to be as strong. When I first started making cavaquinhos, the pattern that I was copying was from a Del Vecchio cavaquinho.
Oh, sure.
And they used fan braces, like a classical guitar. There were, I think, 3 fans. And they sounded really nice, but after about 6 months, it got really wavy. And so I started experimenting on cavaquinhos with doing a light X-brace pattern, and found that it didn't compromise the sound at all, and structurally it seemed much better than fan bracing.
Wow.
So that's how I do all my cavaquinhos now, and since this is really, I mean, we're calling it a Piccolo guitar, but it's basically a 6-string cavaquinho.
Right.
But anyway, after I know where I'm going to put the braces, the first ones I want to put on are this thing called a bridge patch.
The bridge patch is right here, and that's what you're going to do first.
Yeah. And these two, they're called finger braces off here. And the reason I want to glue those on first is they're going to be perfectly flat on the bottom.
Okay.
The main brace, the X brace,
and
that lower diagonal brace will actually have a little bit of a curve to them, so when you look at the soundboard, it won't be completely flat. It'll have a dome shape. Same thing I do on full-size guitars. I get brace wood in chunks from suppliers. This is a good-sized piece of Sitka spruce.
That's pretty light, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
A lot lighter than maple.
Yes, but very strong. That's why spruce is used for most brace wood. It has a very good strength-to-weight ratio. The pieces that I get from the suppliers are quite well quarter sawn, and the grain lines are running straight along both edges, or relative to both edges, so I can slice these up pretty efficiently on a table saw. If the grain isn't running straight, I make some modifications, because on all braces you want the grain lines running pretty much straight the length of the brace, and you don't want, you see on the edge how the growth rings are straight up and down. It probably won't show up on there.
Yeah, it shows. I could see.
You want that for the best strength you can get. If the growth rings were running diagonally through the braces, you'd have to make the braces bigger in order to have the same strength. Often I can save excess pieces of spruce from archtop guitars that I build, because the wood that I start with for an archtop is like 2 inches thick and sometimes 10 inches wide. So I can lop off a couple inches of that, still have plenty of wood for the guitar top, and then I've got brace wood. I sliced up a little bit of wood. I didn't want to get too far ahead in this process, but Well, this obviously didn't come from the spruce. This is a piece of rosewood that's going to be the bridge plate. I cut it to fit exactly where I want it to be. And then these two pieces of wood will be these finger braces. These are spruce. Can you see there the way the grain is running?
Definitely so.
Yeah, right up and down.
Vertically, the grain there. So
I'm going to show you this really cool clamping system that I have. Years ago, I would have just gotten out some regular C clamps or cam clamps and put some glue on the bottoms of these braces and glued them on, and it worked fine. Quite a few years ago now, I started using this thing called a vacuum clamping system, which for this project, it's really not necessary because it's only a few braces that I'm going to use the vacuum system with, but it's such a cool thing. I wanted to show you
oh yeah.
and whoever else is watching this.
All right.
It was way more handy to have, and still is, when I'm building like classical guitars, because typically they'll have 7 fan braces on them, and I can glue them all at once on this system.